Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, one God. Amen. Glory to Jesus Christ.
Glory to God.
Usually, we read the New Testament in a very small and limited way. Rarely do we examine the richness of the gospel, the infinite depths of what they are meant to reveal to us. This is understandable. For to be able to see into the depths, we have to put in us the mind of Christ. Not our own normal, rational minds, but something entirely different. Only the mind of Christ can understand Scripture. Only the mind of Christ can delve into the mysteries that speak of Him. So often for us, a shallow and surface level of interpretation is where we begin and end. For example, in today's gospel, we have a simple narrative about a widow, her dead son, and Jesus raising him from the dead. We can speak of her immense sorrow and fear over losing her son, the compassion of Christ, His empathy and power over death, and all of that is true. And as always, there is so much more. We could delve into the cultural context, the mores and traditions of Judaism, assuming, of course, that the widow was a Jew, the funeral rites of first century rural Palestine, etc., etc., and all of that information would bring us a little deeper into the meaning of the event. So far, though, with all this, we will have only scratched the surface, using our rational minds to concoct an interpretation that fits our ability to comprehend the literal, cultural, and historical meaning of the event, which all our prepositions color. That's fine. All that the mind can bring to interpretation can be helpful. And there is still more. If indeed this Christ is God incarnate, and if He really raised a young man from the dead, then the implications of this cannot be limited to reason and the senses. No, it is as if Christ ripped through, the space-time continuum and performed a miracle that in some invisible way affects not only the widow and her son and the crowd of mourners and the disciples, but the entire cosmos. It is an event greater than the tale of God making the sun stand still for Joshua. And about this, by the way, I found a very interesting report written by Israeli scientists to explain that event. I'm going to quote for you. Quote, Cambridge researchers, Israeli researchers, announced Monday that they have pinpointed the date of the biblical account of Joshua stopping the sun, which they claim is the day of the oldest eclipse ever recorded, to October 30th, 1207 BCE, exactly 3,224 years ago. That's pretty amazing, huh? By this, also, the scientists were able to refine the dates of the reigns of two Egyptian pharaohs of that era, Ramses the Great and his son Nephthah. How about that? There is in Scripture so much more than meets the eye. And a literal interpretation is simply not enough. I believe so. It is so in this story of the widow of Nain, and in every account of Christ pouring Himself out for the life of the world, which He did each moment of His life. His was a life of total kenosis, self-emptying, that served to reveal the truth about God and the presence of His kingdom here and now. And what is this truth? God is relational. God is present everywhere and in everything. And we are invited to enter into the Trinitarian life, which is represented by the Cappadocian Fathers as the Greek word perichoresis. In other words, this intercirculation of love in the Trinity. Another way to say it is the Trinity is a circular divine dance of love, like an artesian well that is an infinite source of water constantly being poured out from divine person to divine person and overflowing into all of creation. And this love is what brought the young man to life. gave the widow reason to live, and showed the mourners a glimpse into the sacred reality that lay just beneath the veil of their limited consciousness. For this, we must set aside our rational minds and our senses and let go of our always feeble concepts and definitions and enter into the mystery which is in the core of all things. It is not the mind that can do this, but the heart. So we too must become empty, like Christ, in order to awaken the heart from its long slumber, receive the fullness of his kingdom. It has become clear to me that the Scripture is an open window into what appears to the mind as an alternative reality, which is in fact reality itself. It is not a closed and locked door of intellectual certainty, for certainty is the greatest enemy of faith. It is the entrance to eternal and divine possibility, the gateway to infinite mystery, which is Christ. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.